Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Wednesday night edition of In the Blue Corner. We call ourselves the unofficial match committee. I'm Joe, all the way coming to you from. Oh, it's not sunny in Bangkok today. The people are cold. It's 29 degrees beachy, and you walked outside and you'd think that it was -5. You've got people in scarves and puffer jackets, and I've never. My girlfriend was freezing at lunch today, and she had a jacket and scarf on. I'm just looking at her weird. But anyway, over to my trusted associate. They're in Leafy. Is it Q? Beachy, you're in Leafy Q.
Yep.
Yeah. How is Q today?
She's excuse me. She's a bit cool, but we're getting
Yeah.
ready for winter down here in
Oh yeah, you are too.
Victoria. So we're getting ready for it, guys. But as they say, it's typical footy weather, ladies and gents. Let's go.
Yeah. Well, mate, as you may know, we only get 2 seasons here in Bangkok: hot and hot and hot and wet. And that's it. But today we've got as the Thais call it, an unusually cold day. It's still, it's gone down to 28 degrees. I better go and get my puffer jacket on and stoke up the fire, so they say. But anyway, so listen, Chris and I have been chatting a little bit off air. This week we are playing the mighty Adelaide, and as Chris alluded to me off air, they may have a bit of a sting in their tail. I'll let you go on about that, Chris, as you mentioned off air.
Yeah. And you guys have been living under a rock for the last week or so, maybe not so much. But anyway, the point I was saying to Joe off air is they got beaten badly by GWS at their home ground in Adelaide, the Adelaide Oval. That was a game they were expected to win, considering where GWS is sitting at the moment. That said, they have regained Toby Green, so that may have done some damage to Adelaide and gained GWS some confidence. But it's a new week. The Adelaide Crows now fly over the border to us, where we're coming off one against North Melbourne, and we go again.
Yeah, let's hope that it's rocked them of confidence, Chris, as opposed to your point of view has spurred them into action. So yeah, look, guys, just before we start, I've had a bit of a feedback about comments and being a bit interactive. I've spoken to all the guys that are running shows. We will be more interactive. We're not going to put up all these high comments and all that. We appreciate everybody watching. We'd really like comments about either the team, the game plan. I don't want to hear Stocker shouldn't be in the team or Williams should be in the team. I mean, give us something constructive and also, Chris, if people disagree with us, we're more than happy to take the feedback. I mean, because as we all know, football is a big opinion game. My opinion varies to your opinion, that varies to Michael Voss's. They seem to see things in a different light. And, we don't really know what they say to the Mitch McGoverns of this world, or who else gets picked on, Plowman and Setterfield. But Chris and I will only give you our viewpoints. We'll try and be as open and honest as possible. And, but let's just take it from there. Anything to add, Chris?
No, excuse me. No, I think you've nailed it on the head there. But as you were going through that, Brendan Bevilacqua has made an appearance this evening. Good evening to you. We will be...
And Lana. Hi, good evening, Lana.
Yes, good evening, Lana. We will be doing our best to bring you our independent views on each matter as it comes week to week.
We can always put up on a disclaimer, Chris, like you have in all those competitions. Judge's decision is final. No correspondence will be entered into. But no, We're not doing like that. No, but we do appreciate everyone that watches. And let's go. Just as Chris and I, we get together about 10 minutes before the program, and we talk about a few things. This is probably not football related but indirectly football related. I was asking Chris.
Yes.
I'm not a basketball fan, so I'm probably the wrong person to agree. When you're 4'0" like I am, basketball is not a very good game because you don't really get much of a look in. But I think the Tassie Jack Jumpers may have given the guys down there at, I think they're at AFL HQ in Jollymont, or they used to be in Jollymont, or I think they're at Marvel Stadium these days.
Yeah,
May
Marvel
have given
Stadium.
them, and may have given them something to think about with this Tasmanian team. They've,
Yes.
what do you think, Chris?
Well, let's put this into perspective here, Joe. The Tasmanian Jack Jumpers. This is their debut season in the NBL, which stands for the National Basketball League. Now, they just came off a big semi-final series win against the reigning premier, which is Melbourne United, formerly known as the Melbourne Tigers. Now, that's a different story altogether. How that came about, and that's probably a different show altogether, which we might on a completely different show altogether. But look, it's a good result for them. They now face the Sydney Kings in the big championship game, which I believe will be taking place soon. So, Tasmania will be getting right behind that side.
I think everyone from Sydney, anyone other than Sydney people, I just got to put one comment up. It's very valid point because I hate Essendon. Peter
yes, I just thought.
Essendon, they've won more finals in one. Well, gee, Peter, that wouldn't be hard. I think the Camberwell under-11s have probably won more finals in 1 year than Essendon. But it's good to see Essendon scum, crash down in their 150th glamour year. Couldn't happen to a nicer bunch of. I won't say the word, but we're very we love them all here. But yeah, Peter, I couldn't have put it better. Also, before we get into the teams, I'm a bit miffed about this reporting to the female umpires. I don't know why it's taken so long. The AFL, they're always saying, "Oh, we're an equal opportunity," and then it takes them 7 months to get in. Look, let's face it, a lot of men are sexist pigs. They all think they know everything, and these poor girls, especially in the juniors, they're trying their best. I heard a lady on SEN today saying, "Well, I went to the football and I shouted out holding the ball. This lady's 50 odd, and some bloke turned her and said, 'What would you know?' And she said to him, 'Well, I've been going to the football for 40 years. I think I do know the rules.'" I mean, doesn't matter what game it is. Do you know, Chris? Other than in the soccer where they have the VAR, which is a review system in itself, have you ever seen an umpire reverse a decision? I've never. Yeah, you can get upset, and I know we're emotional. People are emotional people, but these people, and I've been to I don't have children. Let me say that first. I've been to under 11 games where some of the parents think their bloody kids are Chris Judd. It's under 11s for God's sake. Let the kids enjoy themselves. But anyway, that's my viewpoint. People are always going to be. You're always going to have D heads at sporting games. Doesn't matter whether men are officiating, women are officiating. I say to these people, get off your fat ass and do it yourself, rather than just sit there and bloody abuse them. But anyway, whether she's good, no good, Brad.
They're supposed armchair experts.
I guess so. I mean, don't get me wrong. I get upset at the football too. I mean, football. It's a very emotional game, and I would really struggle as a player, and even just getting upset with myself. Like if I grabbed you around the neck instead of, around the shoulders or down here. But anyway, they do their best. People should give them a go, and if they think that they can do better, then by all means, get off your fat ass and do it. It betters the game. Anyway, Chris, that's enough about that. Let's move on to the game. Yeah, we had a I suppose in the end a good win against North. Build up a bit of percentage. did it hard for the first 2 quarters, and then I think we decided enough was enough, and we got into the swing of things and got the game sort of happening a bit. Well, I really want one day when Charlie and Harry both really fire together. I think it'll be good. And look, I don't know, Chris. My viewpoint is, in the modern game, you seem to have either 18 forwards or 18 defenders. Everyone either pushes up or pushes back. I think when we don't have the ball, we should either just tell Harry or Charlie, one of the two, one of you stay back just in case we happen to get a quick turnover and we can get the ball down there. I mean, they're both really good marks and they're both pretty good on the ground. I don't know. I mean, if one of them stays back, then their opponent isn't going to push up. But look, I'm not an VFL coach. I'm not an AFL coach, so if I had all the game plans, I probably wouldn't be sitting here. I'd be sitting in the corridors, and I'll still call it Princess Park. I'm sorry, folks, it's Princess Park to me. I'd be up there coaching up there as well. But anyway, have you got any thoughts about that, Chris? Or
look, Joe, I agree. When those two start firing together, look out, because it is going to be a dangerous combination for most defence and for most defensive sides.
Yeah, I'd say they're probably, behind probably Tom Hawkins and Jeremy Cameron. I mean, I'd say they're probably one of the most lethal two tall forwards going around. But and we've got some good players to get it out to them, like Cripps, Shearer, Walsh, and Hewitt. Yeah. So listen, Chris, let me just quickly read off the Carlton website, and we can only go by the Carlton website unless anyone has any other details. This was updated yesterday at 4 p.m. What's the time in Melbourne now? It's about 8 p.m.
8:12.
Yeah. Okay, so they've said here, Hewitt is a test. Oscar McDonald to be assessed. So I would guess that means no. Parks is out for a month with a foot injury. Stock is out for 2 weeks with a shoulder injury. I think he copped a 1 week suspension anyway.
Yes.
And Zach Williams is a test. And the two that we know of that are out long term, McGovern and Pitto, both out for 3 months. We were talking about McGovern before the show. Chris, give the stat while I introduce the golden tonsils himself, Vince Lochisano. Give us the stat, Chris, about McGovern.
Sure. Look, I was talking to my Carlton supporting cousin earlier in the day, and I was telling Joe this as well about this, because I found out the news about McGovern from my Carlton supporting cousin, who's now a parent. Anyway, cut a long story short. Since we recruited him in 2019, he's played 33 games for Carlton after playing 48 for Adelaide. Now, he didn't even bring up 50 at the Adelaide Crows, yet he's got 81 games of total AFL experience under his belt.
And Chris, he's played 30. How many did you say? 33 at Carlton?
33.
And I said it's 33 out of a possible 69. So, he's not batting at a very good percentage. So no. Look, I think his contract's up at the end of the year. If I was him, I'd probably be not worried or shaken. But I think they'll offer him a reduced contract. He certainly won't be offered the same money, and I can honestly say I don't think any other teams, maybe a struggling team like a Gold Coast Suns or North Melbourne, may offer him big dollars. But anyway. But on that note, we'd just like to welcome Golden Tonsils himself, Vince Lochisano. How are you, Vince?
Good evening, Joe, and g'day, Beachy. It's great to be back on your show, and thanks for the invitation.
Every time
I reckon just listening to you blokes, I reckon you're both jealous. Mitch McGovern's probably got the world record in how much money he's earned per game played.
He's probably the highest paid player per minute.
If you added up how much money he's made so far,
per minute
in his AFL career, and divided it by how many games he's played, I reckon he'd just about hold the record.
Well, I'd say too, and then break it down to the minutes, because in some of those games he's gone off in the first quarter injured. So
well, I wasn't going to get down to that sort of detail.
Vince, the devil's in the detail, mate. You know that. Come on.
Oh, Joe, I thought you might like the Carlton dressing gown on tonight. I thought I'd get everyone in the mood for a nice night in bed tonight.
Do you know something, Vince? Next week, can you do us a favour? We'd like the silk Carlton dressing gown.
Ah, the silk one.
With the cravat and the pipe, so that you look like Hugh Hefner.
I was just going to say, you're trying to turn me into Hugh Hefner.
and maybe the Carlton Bluebirds behind you.
I wouldn't mind that.
I think they might be a bit long in the tooth now, Vince. You might have wanted them 30 or 40.
We might have to trade all of those ones that are probably in their 60s now for a few in their 20s and 30s instead.
Might have to ask their daughters to join. Hey, talking of that, I haven't been in Melbourne for many years. Do the Storm still have those cheerleaders?
I'm not sure. I must have. Look, I do like the Melbourne Storm, and I tend to follow them at finals time because they're always there.
I know.
But, I don't really follow it much from a week-to-week basis.
I was at the Anzac Day game for the Storm, and they've been there in previous years, but it doesn't look like they've been making their appearances this season.
Okay. I know they've gotten rid of the grid girls in Formula One. So, I mean...
Oh, look, you know what? In this politically correct world that we live in now, they've even done away with the grid. Yeah, you're right. They have done away with the grid girls in Formula One. And,
hang on, Lana says they do.
Apparently,
Lana says they do.
Lana says they do what?
They still have the cheerleaders.
Do they?
I know Lana and Gina are very big supporters of the Melbourne Storm as well as Carlton. So, if anyone, I have to refer to the experts when we're talking rugby league. But yeah, I'm surprised at it. I mean, they still have them in America. Yeah, which surprises me. That's the land of political correctness. So
yeah, but it's also where a lot of that started. Really, I think a lot of that started with the cheerleaders and the cheer girls. In baseball and American football and basketball, etc.
I know in American colleges they have male and female cheerleaders. So maybe that's something that may take off. I don't know. See what happens. Anyway, I went through the injuries. So from the team of last week, if we go through that, the only people that are likely to go out at the present, just based on
forced changes. There's a couple of forced ones, isn't there?
Well, the
Stocker would be one.
That's what I was going to say. Stocker's the one that comes to mind.
Oh, the other one would have been Lewis Young if it wasn't for the fact that he got off.
Yeah. So, and I was talking off air with Chris. I thought Lockie O'Brien sort of did well last week. Maybe that might have built up some confidence for him. So, but you never know with this team because, I mean, for the last 3 weeks, I mean, no one knew about George Hewitt being sore, and next thing you know, he's out. And same with
Zach Williams
with last minute change. So
Zach Williams.
I would say that possibly Hewitt and Williams will come in, and out will probably go. Well, Stocker is definite.
Williams comes in for Stocker.
Yeah, and I would say Hewitt comes in at the expense of Cottrell, who's the medical sub.
No, but you've got to drop 3. You've got to drop 3.
No, but I'm going to say to you, maybe Matthew Owies will probably go down to the medical sub.
I don't agree with that.
Why not? Who's going
No,
to go?
because
Who's
I think he did a reasonable job last week. I don't think he'll be medical sub.
Well, who are you going to drop for Hewitt if he comes in?
Well, I actually think there might. Sorry.
You can't drop Nunes as much as I hate the
No,
guy.
no. Nunes played a good game last week.
He played a good game last week. He got great.
Absolutely.
Great stats.
No, absolutely.
Did well, so I'll give credit.
Yeah, and I think they'd be reluctant to drop Corey Durden because he's still a bit of a live wire and he tends to play well on Marvel Stadium.
Yeah, can't drop Jack Carroll. I thought he did well.
No, he was fantastic.
He was
great debut. 19 possessions.
So you got to drop
kicked
someone.
Kicked the opening goal of the match. Set the tone for the whole game.
Vince. Peter, as much as I'd like to agree with Peter, I think that what's his name? What's his first name? Nunes.
Jack Nunes.
Jack Nunes. I thought he did okay last week. I'm here. I'll give credit where credit's due. Maybe Fisher. Maybe. Don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe. But I'm definitely wanting Hewitt in the team.
Kennedy came back in and made a big difference again.
And Lockie Plowman will probably keep his spot, given that McDonald and McGovern aren't available. So, but we don't know. For all we know.
There's another player that's been knocking on the door and was clearly the best on the ground in the reserves last week. He's been playing really well and deserves a chance at some point. You're right, Joe. Paddy Dow. I mean, at some stage, they've just got to give him a run. His game was outstanding last week.
You got to drop someone, Vince.
True.
True. As much as I agree with you, all the names I've given, you've said no. So you're not going to. You can't drop Jacob Wiedering. You can't drop Lewis Young. You can't drop Sard. You can't drop Doherty. You can't. Lockie O'Brien, I thought he did well last week, so these are possible. You can't drop Cripps.
No.
Nunes is a possible. Fishers are possible. Carrolls are possible. Jack Martin.
Not Carroll.
Well,
no.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying. I'm just putting possibilities up. What did we think of Jack Martin last week? I thought he was
probably did enough.
Okay.
Probably did enough to justify his spot on the side again. Kicked a couple of goals.
Maybe we drop Charlie Curnow and Harry Mackay.
I don't think so.
Maybe we drop
him for a reaction here.
Maybe we drop Tom DeConnick.
Well, do you automatically give Hewitt and Williams their spot back in the team if they're available? That's the question.
Hewitt,
do you give them both immediately their spot?
Hewitt, yes. I think Hewitt.
Okay, so maybe. So do you make Zach Williams play reserves? Do you?
No, but you said, do I definitely? Williams, I'm not sure, but even according to the medical...
Well, Stocker's out, Cottrell gets dropped, but you need one more player to come out because then again, from your emergencies, you appoint another medical sub on the day. So you need another player to come out of the side if you're going to bring Williams and George Hewitt back in.
Yeah, well... These are the conundrums, Vince. This is why we have the Wednesday show. We want,
and then we don't know what players are injured that the club's not going to tell us about until Saturday afternoon.
Yeah. And tomorrow afternoon we find out Jack Silvani has hurt his ankle, or Zach Fisher slipped over a bar of soap in the shower. And
well, let's go through them. Would you drop Jack Silvani?
No.
Right. Would you drop Lockie O'Brien potentially to make way for George Hewitt?
Well, he's a potential, but based on
if you have to choose someone, he'd be in the mix, wouldn't he?
Okay, well let me write down.
If you definitely have to drop someone, he would be one of the ones you'd look at.
Well, let me write down who's in the mix, all right, and then we'll go through them. So,
Lockie
O'Brien.
You're not going to put Matt Kennedy. You're not going to drop him, are you?
Jack Nunes.
You're not going to drop Patrick Cripps. I'm just going through the numbers. Harry Mackay, no.
Zach
Tom
Fisher?
DeConning, no. I'm just going through the numbers, Joe. Doherty, no. Jack Carroll. Now, again, some people might say, "Oh, yeah, you've got to look at that. You know, he'd be in the mix, even though he played a good game on his debut. He only came in because Hewitt
Fisher.
went out in the first place.
Yeah, I'll put him in the mix then.
Yeah, I personally wouldn't drop him because I think he played too good a game.
Yeah, I agree. Carroll deserves another crack.
So maybe it is a Durden or an Owies. I think you might be right, Joe. Maybe you are onto something there. But that's to fill in. That's to have an additional midfielder in Hewitt, because Williams essentially is coming in for Stocker in the back line.
Yeah. Well,
right?
then maybe it is a Lockie O'Brien. You know, like for like. I don't know, but
he's the one. He is the one I think that will have to make way, and they'll put one of the midfielders on that wing instead of Lockie O'Brien. Whether it's Walsh, whether it's Hewitt, whether it's Kennedy, one of them will be on that wing in place of Lockie O'Brien, in my view.
Yeah. Do you know these team selections are really a joke? I mean, if you have a look at the team for last week, we got Sard at centre half back. I know, but I'm just saying it just makes a mockery of. I was listening the other day. Maybe they should just select 21 players plus
21 names. Yeah.
And
don't worry about having a full back and a half back line and a centre line.
Yeah, I'll play where they play.
They never start that way anyway, do they, Joe? Not like in the old days when you could just about guarantee that they'd play in those positions.
Jeez. I remember O'Connell, Southby, Waite, bloody Dool, Perovic, and McConville. You could just lock them in, and you knew that they were going to play there. But not. One of the things that I believe would help to make the game really interesting, especially from a team selection point of view and from a strategic point of view, is imagine if the AFL brought in a rule that said you must select your team in the positions that they're going to play, and those players must play a minimum of the first quarter in those positions. Yeah, I can't see it. Hey, no? I'll put it out. I'll put it out to the audience. Who do they want in and who do they want out?
Okay, let's hear what everyone else has got to say.
We've given our view.
Yep.
I'm of the opinion that to make way for George Hewitt is one of O'Brien, Carroll, Durden, and Owies, and I would say that probably either Durden or Owies would be very nervous. But look, I don't know.
Do you reckon one of the small forwards there?
Yeah, well, how many small forwards can you play? You got Zach Fisher.
Well, they're both forward pockets.
Yeah. Well, hang on. Here's Mr.
No, Zach Fisher and Jack Martin play further up the ground.
Well, here's Mr. Peter Vlahos has put up in Hewitt and Williams, which we've all agreed, out Nunes and Stocker. Okay.
You don't like Nunes, Peter?
He's like me, but...
I mean, look, to be honest with you, Joe, Nunes has now played the last 3 games, and 2 of those 3 games he's played very well.
Oh, wash him out. I didn't hear that.
It's only the loss. It's only the loss against Fremantle, where he didn't play very well, and he had a lot of mates too.
I'm going to do the old Dumb and Dumber when you say that name. La 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 la.
All right. Well, that's good to hear what Peter thinks. What about our other viewers? Let us know who you think should be brought in and left out.
So, Vince, earlier we were talking about the Tassie Jack Jumpers, or I don't understand what a Jack Jumper is.
What do you want to talk about them for?
No, because I'm talking about, do you think maybe they've put the wind up the AFL about this 19th licence in Tassie? Do you think that may strengthen the case?
Oh, potentially. I don't think the AFL's pushed around by anybody or anything.
I don't think they're worried.
They either, want to have a Tasmanian team or they don't. I would love to see Tasmania get a team, And if you're looking for a 20th team, so that you can actually have a 20-team competition where everyone just plays each other once, and you reduce it to a 19-round year, and then have a final series after that. Why won't it happen? Why not?
Because the AFL sell the contract to the
no, but you'd have an extended final series, Joe.
Well, you're gonna have
because if you have 20 teams, what you'll have is you'll have the top 6 making the finals, and then you'll have a round, like one of those round robin final series that they have in EPL, not EPL soccer, but maybe Championship soccer and the other leagues underneath it, where they have 4 teams competing for 2 spots.
Okay,
that sort of thing, or one spot even. So imagine if you had 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th, right? Where 7th plays 10th, 8th plays 9th, and the 2 winners then play each other. That sort of thing. To have one more spot in the 8th, or maybe you just have those 2 finals to determine the other two positions in the 8th.
I don't know. I'm not this.
It'll be an extent. What I'm saying is it will extend the final series by another week, and that makes them a hell of a lot more money.
Do you think?
Yeah, my word, it does.
There'll only be 2 games as opposed to 18 games.
What do you mean?
7 plays.
At the moment, the final series is 9 games. You have 4 games in the first week, 2 in the second, 2 in the third, and of course the grand final is the 9th game. Okay, now, if you have a little round robin series where you've got, as I just explained, 7th playing 10th, 8th playing 9th, then you've got an interesting. You've got the top 10 teams all have a chance to make the finals.
The question also that needs to be raised, and I was listening to Nathan Buckley talk about this, is if you do have a 19th and 20th team, you're spreading the talent pool very thin.
Yes, that's true.
And
that is true.
Let's be honest, the step between VFL, Sandful, Waffle, Neefle, is quite, to the AFL, is quite big. I mean, you see people starring in the VFL. Yeah. I mean, if you really want to be controversial, I think the way that the AFL was formed was wrong. They took a competition and just added teams from interstate. And I know NRL is a bit the same. Realistically, if someone came up to you today and said, "Go and build me an AFL competition that
start from scratch,"
yeah, you'd have like maybe, I don't know, 2 or 3 teams from South Australia, 2 or 3 teams from WA, 2 from Queensland, maybe 5 from Victoria. But then who do you get rid of in Victoria? I mean, I know a lot of ex-Fitzroy supporters. They didn't jump on the Brisbane Lions. They just jumped off altogether. They didn't jump to anyone else. And the same when the Swans went to Sydney. A lot of people just gave up and just went, "Oh no," until they reached finals, and then all of a sudden, these Fitzroy supporters are Lions and these South Melbourne supporters are Swans. But I just want to answer. Sorry. I just want to answer Goz's question. Yeah, we have broken the bank to get Vince out. We've paid him a whole $3.69 to come onto the show. Is that right, Vince, or was it $3.68?
No, I put it up by a cent this week.
Oh, did you? Beachy, we'll have to rob the bank again.
No, I don't think so, Goz. But I noticed that he was on last week, and always good for a conversation about Carlton. Very passionate Carlton supporter, so good to see him watching it again this week. Look, I don't know. I just think it's inevitable that we will eventually get that 19th and 20th team. I think the competition needs it, and then we only play each other once. That's what I think also needs to happen.
Maybe we could have an A.
I mean, you're not going to have a situation where you're playing 19 teams once and 3 teams twice, so that you have 22 rounds.
We might have 2 conferences of 10 or something.
No. Well, that's another idea that I've heard bandied around about the 2 conferences set up. But
That's stupid.
or even two divisions like in English soccer. But
we should ask Eddie Maguire. He's got the answer to everything.
well, look, he's come up with some good ideas in the past, Eddie. You got to hand it to him. He's passionate about football, and he comes up with a lot of ideas. Not always brilliant ones, but more often than not, there's something good about his ideas.
One of his best was leaving the presidency of Collingwood. That was a masterstroke.
That was about the only one he didn't want to happen.
But
anyway,
look, we've gone through the team selection. We, as Vince has rightly pointed out, we don't know the full extent of the injuries. The clubs are.
I did post something on our Facebook page during the week saying, at what point does the dam wall break with our injuries? I am genuinely concerned that if we continue to rack up injury after injury to key players, senior players, eventually that will test our depth to the point where it will affect our capacity to play the brand of football that we've seen so far. And,
no doubt. Who do you blame?
I'm not saying I blame anyone at all. I know some people have a go at Andrew Russell and all this. He can't necessarily help how a player might land on his knee or, if all of a sudden he gets crunched in a tackle. That's got nothing to do with Andrew Russell.
No.
So I don't understand how people come up with that theory. But, if you're talking about their fitness and their overall capacity to run out a game, yes, that's a fair enough comment because in a lot of our games this year, we have had very poor second halves, especially the third quarter after a break. Now, we finally, last week, came out and won a third quarter and won it handsomely. We were given, I guess, the opportunity as a playing group to come out and prove to the rest of the football world that, yes, we can play well in the third quarter because the situation commanded it. We were only 8 points ahead of North Melbourne at halftime. We weren't convincing in that second quarter at all. And we did finally come out and extend that 8-point lead to 40 points by three-quarter time, and it was effectively game over. So that proves to me that we do have the fitness to keep going. But, before that, I was starting to question the fitness levels myself about our capacity to run out a game. How about you, Beachy? Have you been worried about the fitness side of things?
Have a look at Goz's comment, Beachy. Have a look and comment at the same time.
But Vince, getting injuries is the name of the game at day's end. It tests layers of the club on so many levels. That might be the case. But Vince makes a good point. At some point, that damn wall is going to bust and we're going to have not necessarily a flood of Brisbane-like proportions, great respect to Brisbane after what they've been going through and all that, and all them. But that's the thing. At some point, we're not gonna be doing what we want anymore, and the other sides are gonna be coming straight after us and think, here we go, you're exposed depth-wise.
Yeah.
Here we go. We're gonna come straight at you and take you right down.
Yep.
Yeah.
I just noticed a good comment there from was it Zoran? Goran, was it? I couldn't. Oh, I was going to say Zoran. I was going to say Zoran Gabic, but it's actually Goran Zabic. G'day,
Sorry,
Goran.
Vince
Nice
is
to
a bit
see you joining us tonight. No, that's all right. That's a good. I'm not sure if it's Croatian or Serbian or what it is, but anyway, it'd be something like that.
Don't offend them all, Vince.
Anyway, nice to see you. That's a good suggestion. Mid-season draft, maybe we need to go after a key position defender. Although I really must say that I'm very impressed with how Lewis Young's progressing so far. I think since he got his opportunity to come in, he's really grabbed it with both hands, and I think he's improving steadily with each game, and he's starting to really put some scores on the board in terms of his capacity to play in defence. And they actually swung him up forward at one stage a couple of weeks ago and did that to good effect as well.
Yep.
Oh, hang on. Goran has told us he's Croatian. Goran, kako si?
Very good. Very good.
All I know. Goz has taught me that. And I also know Kata Chamoy, yes. When are we going to eat? And Ya Volim Tebe Pulno. I love you very much, Goran. So as a Carlton supporter. But look, I guess all the clubs are in the same position as us, as opposed to injuries. Like, let's face it, Melbourne last year didn't get any injuries, right? Melbourne
They did, but they covered
not really.
well.
No, not really.
Adam Tomlinson went down with an ACL.
Yeah, but
Jaden Hunt went down just on the eve of the finals, and unfortunately couldn't get his position back by the end of it. So strong was their backline with players like Petty and that young kid number 17. I'm trying to think of his name now. Do you remember the one, Chris? He hasn't lost a game yet.
Oh,
Bowie, depending on how you want to pronounce it.
Wait, he's lost a game. He played Carlton
and yet Jaden Hunt couldn't get his position back in the side. That's how strong they are, and that's how much depth that they have.
Have a look. They had 5 guys out last week due to health and safety. Hey, Brendan's right,
and they still won.
I'll just get back to the thing. Do we want Kemp in the team? Maybe.
Well,
I don't know.
Yeah,
look,
that's not a bad suggestion, Brandon, and good to see Brandon here. Brandon's the owner of the Melbourne Coffee Roasting Company, which sponsors the segment that I do with Rocco on the Jumper Punch called Talking Blue. So it's good to see Brendan. He makes the best coffee in Melbourne.
Brandon, it's your fault that Vince is on there, is it? Okay, we'll remember that.
Anyway, I can recommend the Melbourne Coffee Roasting Company to anyone who wants to indulge in some coffee. It's beautiful stuff. Anyway,
send us a link, Brandon. I'll put it up on the screen for the viewers.
Yep. The other thing, of course, is Kemp. He was suggesting. He's been playing VFL. Hasn't really been in great form. Certainly not playing well enough to be elevated into the seniors just yet. But he did get recruited as someone who had a big future, and we're still waiting to see that potential realised.
Well, they do say big fellas take a few years extra to mature. I mean, have a look at Josh Kennedy. I mean, he wasn't. How long was he with Carlton? 2 or 3 years.
Well, Kennedy played with Carlton for what was it, 11 games? And he played in 06 and 07. Yeah. He played for 2 seasons, and then was traded to West Coast in exchange for Chris Judd as part of that deal. And he's still playing today, and he's been an incredible full forward for them. And anyway.
So Brandon's coffee company, melbournecoffeeroastingco.com, and he's even given us a promotion for Mother's Day. Look at that. Mother.
Look at that.
20%
code. Okay, so when you ring up, quote that promotional code MOTHER to get 20% off plus express post. How good's that?
Hey,
that's
Brandon,
a really good deal.
Can you send it to Thailand Express Post? Probably not. I'm just joking.
You know what? He probably will. That's how nice a guy he is. But anyway.
But Kemp. I mean, there was big raps on the guy. I mean, they drafted him, and he had an ACL or something.
Yep.
Didn't he?
He had an injury.
The first year he stood out, and basically last year was. Was his other. Goza said Kennedy played 22 games in 2 years for Carlton and 11 goals. I mean,
there you go. 11 was the goals. That's right. I thought.
Yeah, but we knew we had
11 goals, not games.
We knew we had to give something up to get Chris Judd. You're not going to get a player of Chris Judd's quality and give up.
And what West Coast wanted was someone that they knew would stay there because he's a WA boy.
Which is key.
And they saw the potential in him as well. These key position players do not grow on trees.
No.
And 7 years after Chris Judd retired, Josh Kennedy is still today contributing incredibly to the West Coast cause. And in fact, I think last week he kicked his 700th goal for the club, or 700th career goal.
Yeah,
So
but his first 11 were important, though, Vince.
yes, of course. But anyway, the point is that, yes, you've got to give up something to get someone great. But I've got to say, my personal view is that even though Carlton desperately needed Chris Judd to come over from a leadership point of view and a promotional point of view, if you like, a PR point of view, if you're looking at purely football and the value that you got out of each player and the output that you got out of each player, and ultimately premierships, well, you'd have to say West Coast has got the better end of the deal.
Yeah, I'd like to say it's a win-win. I mean, because we did okay.
It probably is a win-win. I'm not being critical of Chris Judd. I'm just simply saying we got, 8 years out of Chris Judd. Probably the first 6 of them were the best.
Yes.
Tailed off a bit to the end, towards the end. 2014 and 15, not so great. But retired halfway through 2015 with that knee injury when he sustained it. I think it was against Adelaide, at the MCG. Yeah. Halfway through. So we're talking 7 years ago, and yet Josh Kennedy is still going today and has a premiership medal around his neck.
Yeah. I had a university lecturer, boys, who said to me, whenever there's a win-win situation, there's always a loser. He said, someone's always losing. Brandon's put something up. We haven't mentioned. I think we did mention this guy earlier, Brandon, about bringing.
Where is Dow at? That's a good question, isn't it? I mean, where is he at, and where do we see him fitting into the team? I mean, what do you think, Beachy? Where do you see Paddy Dow coming in, if at all? What position do you see him playing if he's going to come in, or are we just going to, keep playing him in the VFL and then use him as trade bait, or,
Yeah, but even if you use him as trade, sorry, Beachy, even if you use him as trade bait, if he's playing in the VFL, you're not going to get much for him, right? So, sorry, Beachy, I'll let you go and then I'll have a.
Yeah, but you're not going to play him if you don't see him as part of your best 22 either, Joe.
Yeah, but go, Beachy, go.
That's right. What I was going to say is you both make great points, because you're not going to play him if he's not part of your best 22. Yet you can't always have him playing VFL for however many weeks at a time, because he's sooner or later going to keep dominating, and then he's going to be saying to the club, "Well, if you're not going to pick me, where's the door, lads? I might as well just go." Because I attended the VFL last week against North Melbourne, and he was quite prominent very quickly and easily. Now, granted, the VFL side of North Melbourne are down there like the AFL side, but even so, you will still dominate and say to them, "Look, guys, if you're not going to pick me, I'm going to head for the door." It's simple as that. My brother's at Richmond, for example. So I might as well say,
Yep.
Okay. Thompson Dow's at Richmond. He said, my brother's at Richmond. I might as well go join him.
Yeah, look, Goz has asked why trade Dow. Jeez, I don't know. How old is he? 22? 22, 23?
No, he's a bit more than that now. I think he'd be 23 by now. If he's not, he'd be very soon hitting 23. Because
I'll look that up.
Okay.
But he was picked up in the 2017 draft.
Yeah.
And his first season, along with Lockie O'Brien, was in 2018. So 2018, 19, 20, 21. So 22 is his 5th season.
Yeah, he's 22, lads. He's 22.
Okay.
So, look.
You'd have to be turning 23 soon, I reckon.
October.
I don't see the VFL, right? I think he probably needs to be played. But the other point is, who do you drop? We can say all this, we should play Stocker. I hear it on all these. I see it on all these social media sites. O'Brien should be played. Dow should be played. Kemp should be played. Stocker should be played. They all say who should, but you've someone, one in, one out.
There's only so many positions on the ground.
And we just went through the team and we all went, well, you can't drop Sard, or you can't drop Doherty, or you can't drop Zach Field, or you can't. We can drop someone. Right?
Yeah.
So So look,
That's why, and that's one of the reasons why Paddy Dow has not had an opportunity yet, because we
Probably.
have played pretty well for the first 7 rounds.
yeah,
We've got 5. We're at 5-2. When you keep winning, you're reluctant to change a winning formula as a coach and as a selection committee. You're reluctant to make massive changes, and most of Carlton's changes have been late changes, forced through injury or COVID protocols. So, that's one of the reasons why guys like Dow are not getting their opportunity yet. And the thing is, Lockie O'Brien is, because his position is more as a winger, where we do have a deficiency, whereas Dow is a midfielder, and we seem to have a plethora of those at the moment.
Well, yeah, George Hewitt coming across probably didn't help his scores. Hewitt and Chera probably haven't helped his scores.
Yeah, but also Matthew Kennedy has
stepped up,
really taken Dow's spot really ever since halfway through last year, in my opinion.
Yeah. Look, we don't know what Michael Voss has said to the kid anyway. Michael Voss might say, look, just keep doing it, keep going ahead.
Yeah, I think Michael Voss is to some extent testing and trialing all the players at so long as they deserve the opportunity, he's giving them opportunities to show him what they're made of. And there are certain players that, in my view, don't fit the Voss mould, and probably Dow is one of them, and other players that you might deem to be soft. Lockie Plowman's another good example, who, for the last 3 years or so has been quite high up in Carlton's best and fairest count, but he's also much maligned amongst Carlton supporters because they see him as being a bit soft, and. He's struggled to get a game under Michael Voss.
Yeah, yes. Peter's raised a good point where we've drafted too many mids, but that seems to be the case with a lot of the clubs. Everyone wants a mid, and this is probably one of Carlton's downfalls.
Yeah, but we've been crying out for midfield depth because we've had too much left to too few in recent years. You've seen
I know.
Years where everything's relying on Cripps's shoulders, or in more recent times, Sam Walsh's shoulders. Now we have genuine midfield depth, and you might think we've got too many, but that's only when they're all fit and ready to go. And you've got a nice problem then. Then you've got a nice issue where, okay, which of them do we actually put in the side?
And here's it. Sorry.
They go on.
Here's an interesting point from Brandon. Should the club look to add more premiership experience in the off-season? We have it off-field, but on-field. Who are you thinking, Brandon? I mean, are you thinking that we go recruit someone from Richmond or Melbourne, or
Probably.
I agree with the comment, but I actually think the time has come at Carlton to start investing in the draft. I mean, we've picked up some decent players, hopefully, such as Chera, Hewitt, who are quite young. Hopefully Lewis Young comes along. Your Kemps, your Stockers, sort of come along. I don't know. Walsh, he's still young. They're still young.
There's another young player that just give him another season or so to mature, and I reckon you'll start seeing him getting an opportunity in the forward line as well, and that's young Motlop.
Yeah,
Jesse Motlop. You watch; he's going to be a little excitement machine. That kid. He's going to be potentially, and I know it's a dangerous word to use, but potentially a little bit like Keziah Pickett from Melbourne.
I hope so.
Yeah, it'd be a little live wire there in the forward line.
Yeah. Look, I would love to pick up some.
Give him some time.
I'd love to pick up some premiership players, Brandon, but the thing is, as we talked about with Chris Judd, I mean, you got to give something up to get something back. I don't think I'd really want anyone from Richmond, to be honest. They're all aging. I mean, we had the chance to pick up, who's the guy that went to Richmond? That's a Gold Coast, Brandon
Ellis.
Yeah, and I mean, he grew up in Carlton, Princess Hill, and was a Carlton supporter. So we had the chance to get him. He was a dual premiership player. I mean, there's no one really there, and Richmond aren't exactly going to give up someone like a Shea Bolton or Noah Bolter, or they might give you Jack Rewalt, but I mean, he's past his prime. So And I can't see Melbourne giving up much. You know, they'll want to keep it. Although we'll take Max Gawn, you know, if they don't want him. But there you go. There's the swap. There's the swap, guys. Max Gawn for Paddy Dow. What do you think of that? And good evening, Richard Hussain. How are you, mate? Please don't. Please don't put Beachy under a spell where he actually gives us his keys to his private jet, as guys will say.
Chance.
No chance. Well, Peter wants Mad Jack Dool. Oh my God. Oh no.
Oh, I don't know about that. No, I think you might be having us on with that one. But
hang on there. Brandon's answered your question.
Yep.
To me, it's not about spending big money. Maybe a money ball move like getting a season ruckman or a right side of it. Yeah, I guess. Money. I don't really think money. There's been many money ball players really in the AFL, but yeah,
we've certainly recruited a few players and turned them into high price recruits.
Yeah, and have been not much.
No, exactly.
But, Goz wants to put Beachy in the forward line. Carlton can't afford Beachy. Can't afford him.
I think I might blow their salary cap budget.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're paying him a total of $18.37, and that just puts Carlton right over the.
Hey Joe, I reckon it might be about time to get everyone's prediction from them for the Carlton Adelaide game on Sunday afternoon at 4:40 at Marvel Stadium.
Yeah, Carlton 10 goals.
Carlton by 10 goals.
Yeah.
Really?
Okay.
Even more than what they beat North Melbourne by.
You heard it here first. Okay.
Okay. Right.
Harry to kick 7. Hang on.
Harry to kick 7.
And Charlie to kick 6 in an absolute festival. It'll be like Mardi Gras on the forward line. It'll be a procession.
It'll be known as the Mother's Day
Massacre. You thought that bikie brawl was a Mother's Day massacre? Get ready.
Dear me.
It is the Mother's Day. This is going to be the massacre to end. They will be. We're going to get Steven Spielberg. He'll be making movies about this.
Okay.
The Mother's Day massacre.
I think we got the message, Joe. What do you think, Beachy?
I think we did. Look, I'm not going to lie. If that actually does happen, I'll have my feet up and I'll have my hands behind my head at the
puffing a cigar.
Yeah, drinking the Kool-Aid in abundance.
Exactly.
No Kool-Aid, cognac.
Look, Cos makes a good point here. Do not underestimate the Crows. They are dangerous.
Yeah, and then he writes Blues by 80.
Look, I will be happy to see us knock them off by 10 goals, but I think we will take. Sorry, excuse me. I'll take a 40-point win over the Adelaide Crows. They'll be with us for most of it, but then we will be kicking away again. And my headline for this one, Crips to have the Carlton fans dancing in the aisles by the end of the game.
Oh, really? Well, Peter's got Carlton by 20.
Crips to have what by the end of the game?
To have Carlton fans dancing in the aisles by the end of the game.
Oh, dear me. Well, Rich thinks 6 goals minimum. Wow, we're all getting very confident.
Can you get over to Adelaide and hypnotise them into thinking they're chickens, so they just walk around the ground all day pecking?
Look,
sorry, Rich, I'm not making fun of the hypnotism. But I'm just being an idiot.
Righto. Well, I think it's going to be a lot closer than what most people think.
What, 70 points?
I think it's going to be a cliffhanger.
No.
There you go. Yeah, I do.
You know something? I was talking to Beachy about this. No, hang on. I was talking to Beachy about this before the show.
Yeah.
Every week on every Carlton site, this week's a danger game. This week's a danger. Hello, they're all danger games, right?
No, of course they are.
So
And any team can beat any other team on
Hang
their
on.
day.
Rich is going to go and turn all the Adelaide Crows into chickens. See? I told you he's a good man. Thanks, Rich. At least, but make one of them Foghorn Leghorn, at least. You know, maybe Tex Walker. I say that's a joke, son. That's a joke. Sorry, being stupid. Sorry, being silly. But anyway,
as Foghorn Leghorn would say, if he's talking about
you got it all wrong, son. You got it all wrong.
That boy's about as sharp as a bowling ball. Anyway, now I think it's going to be a lot closer than what most people think, and I'm still predicting a Carlton victory, but I think it'll be Carlton by 13 points. There you go.
Vince,
okay. That's it.
What's your headline, Vince?
What's that?
Your headline?
Yeah, what's your headline?
My headline?
Yeah.
That's a good question, Beachy. I haven't even thought about that. My headline.
Tex goes mad, smacks up bloody someone. Gets 18 weeks.
Yeah. Oh, it might be something like that. Yeah. I don't know. I can't think of one, to be honest. I just don't think it'll be a very high. I think it'll be a bit of a shootout type game. That's what I think.
You think? I don't. I don't think Adelaide have the forward power other than Tex. That Rochelle's a good player.
Rochelle's a good player. I think the Adelaide team will actually play all right on Marvel Stadium.
Dawson's a good kick.
What's that?
Jordan Dawson's a good kick for goal.
He's kicked one goal after the siren. And it looked like it was going through the points. You blokes.
Still bent back.
No, I want you to get fair income now. Come on.
Okay.
By 70 points. I've gone from 80 to 70.
I don't. Look, listen, I think we're getting all a bit carried away. I think Adelaide's a better team than North Melbourne. And so far, North is the only team that we've actually won 3/4 of the game. And we still conceded the second last week. So we need to start seeing Carlton perform. And I think some of the players have alluded to this lately. Even Cripps came out and said that was the best 4/4 performance we've had for the year. Well, the fact of the matter is we still got beaten in the second quarter. So I still want to see more of that against really good quality opposition. North Melbourne, without being disrespectful, they're struggling. And I think they'll be, bottom 2 this year again. So, let's start seeing it against better opposition. And Adelaide's not even a finals team. So let's see how we perform against Adelaide on Sunday. I think it'll be a lot closer.
I agree with Brandon. Charlie and Harry run rampant.
Yes, the royal family. What is it with this Queen, Charles and Harry and
the Queen not happy?
All we need now is a William somewhere.
Family. I like that, Brandon. That's the Carlton royal family.
That's
Charlie
right. That's comment of the show.
It is.
Yes. And we've got Will as well. Will, as in William Setterfield. But he's not in the team.
This is the comment of the show.
Nunes to save the game.
Guys,
yes,
if
maybe.
that happens, I live on the 23rd floor. I'm going to jump if that happens. Oh, my God. Seriously.
Look, Adelaide put in a shocker last week against GWS. Let's not sugarcoat it. They were terrible. And that was after an inspiring win over the last year's grand finalists, the Western Bulldogs. So they can turn it on when they're on, and they can also put in a shocker when they have a shocker. So they're still struggling for consistency, but I think that they will hit back this week, and they will at least challenge us for a fair way.
You only play as good as the opposition let you.
Well,
and, if we let them play well, then it will be.
I think the injury toll at Carlton's going to start biting.
Nah.
And any more injuries, and I reckon it'll start biting. So anyway, the game after that, the next couple of weeks after this one will be really interesting because that will give us a better picture about where Carlton's at. We've got to play GWS over
Easy.
there. We have never beaten GWS in Sydney, as far as I'm aware.
That is correct. We're 0-5 there.
Yep, and then the following week we have our first Friday night game since God knows when we play the Sydney Swans over here, and they are a genuine premiership threat. So
2 wins. I'm predicting 2 wins.
Okay.
2 wins. Hey,
We'll see what
listen,
happens.
we've been going for an hour, but we'll discuss those games going forward. Thank you, Chris. Thanks, Vince, for coming on board. Don't forget, guys, you can
pleasure.
catch Vince every Sunday night on in the Blue Corner, the Sunday edition with Steve Katib.
Yep.
They promise to be more interactive. I've spoken to them. If not, I'll dock Vince 37 cents and I'll dock Steve 62 cents. It'll go hard.
No, we love your comments. We love your feedback, and we'll certainly post all the comments up.
Couple of things. Jumper Punch boys. Vince is on the show. They were on last night. They had a good start of a segment with Ryan Hoops-Houlihan.
Yeah.
Saw your hand there a couple of times, Vince, drinking the coffee.
I didn't even know that they got that.
Cameo Rob without actually showing it. Your hand was very sexy and the coffee. Have a look. But yeah, watch the Jumper Punch, Rocco and the boys. Also, don't forget, these guys sponsor the Jumper Punch, and Brandon is also a good supporter of our show. So don't forget Melbourne Coffee Roasting Co. And he's got a special promotion this week, Mother, for a 20% discount and free express post. Vince, you can vouch for the coffee. It's very good, I've been told.
Absolutely.
Sorry we don't get it here in Thailand. Maybe we can start.
Now, Brandon really should have made that code Mumma, not Mother. Mum.
Probably.
So maybe he can acknowledge that anyway. Even say Mumma and you'll still get your 20% off.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll do that anyway. But Brandon, maybe we can start a business sending the coffee here to Thailand. Thanks, Lana, who's also a good supporter of the show.
Yes,
Goz,
hi, Lana.
Rich,
great to see you.
Goran, Peter, anyone else that I've missed. I still think we'll win. I think we'll win easy. I hope that that's the case. I can't handle these close games. My computer gets sick of being slammed. So, I'd be giving away 50-metre pet. I'd be giving away 3,000 metres a game. But on that note, go Blues. Don't forget to tune in and speak to Vince on Sunday evening.
Go Blues.
Me and Beach will be with you next week. And who's next week's game? GWS. So let's hope that we win. That will be 6-2. And we'll give GWS a run. Go Blues. And from me, it's good night from Chris.
Yes, good night from me.
And Vince.
Good night from Bangkok.
And in true Ronnie's style, and it's good night from them.
I say that's a joke, son. That's a joke. All right. See you guys.
See you.